Welcome to another episode of This or That with Kobe and Cap, MSI Edition, episode number 2.
MSI Knockouts Edition. We got through the main course, and now dessert is on the menu, my friends.
Let's get it started then. Slide number 1. What do you hold in store? Best jungler of groups. Is it Clid or is it Ning? There has been so much talk about Clid, even though Invictus Gaming the better team overall. I gotta give the edge to this guy. Not only has he created so much early action, but he also protects his team with counter ganks.
I feel like I've got to give it over to Clid too. Part of this is going to be the lens on the side of Invictus Gaming. It's just everybody pops off. Everyone on this team is just so insanely good. I'm not saying that same isn't true for SKT, but they started off kind of rough. They definitely didn't have the same 9-0 streak that IG did. And when there was somebody who had to make this team get to that winner's circle, it was always Clid.
What about the Ivern? Not an Ivern lover here?
What about the Kayn? I seem to remember that as well.
All right, next slide. We are in alignment. What role requires more skill? Oh, this is controversial because Perkz, who recently transferred from mid lane down to the marksman role on G2, has been so outspoken, saying that mid lane players definitively better than AD carry players. And if you think about it, as a jungler from the outside, I'm thinking mid lane players have more to think about because the AD carry players, the role is just a little bit more linear the further you go in the game.
It's a little bit more linear, and the characters all fall into, and I guess this isn't so much true in the last couple of years because you do have some alternate picks down there, but this says AD carry, not bottom lane. So I'm gonna say this in respect to AD carries, which happens to be all your marksmen. Similar play style. Yes, you're gonna have something different with a couple different characters like Ezreal or whatever compared to an Asher and MF, but this, you've got assassins, you've got divers, you've got control mages, you've got all these different types of characters you can play.
Even.
You even got tanks even. Yeah, sometimes you gotta play a Scion or something. I'm gonna give it over to mid lane.
All right, me mid 2. Next slide, this is number 3. Better Sylas player, is it Caps? He dumpster Jensen, or is it the Shy? He is a good player.
He is the Shy, yes.
Honestly, at this tournament, I would say Caps. Overall body of work, I would give it to the Shy. But right now, after this tournament, I'd probably say Caps.
Yeah, I'd probably have to agree with that. Like, as a North American fan, you still have the bad memories of the game against Jensen that first time. But of course, Jensen did get his revenge too. But Caps' Sylas has been on point. I'm hoping that during knockouts, we get to see it at least once.
Yeah. All right, next slide. Number 4, better jungler wins. Is it Jarvan or is it Rek'Sai? Ooh, this is actually a pretty good one. And this is a little bit painted by our personal experience in North America.
That is true. That is true.
Where Rek'Sai, I feel like, has just come out on top. There's no like logical real reason for it. I think
it's a good champ. That's logic. That's the reason.
They both have really good options in the early game. Jarvan can go Cinderhulk or Warrior. Rek'Sai is permanently Warrior because you have to be able to get those kills. You have to be able to get that burst damage. Jarvan does have the options of going tank, but maybe it's something about just fully committing to the early kills, going Warrior style for Rek'Sai that just makes it easier.
For me, I'm gonna give my vote over to Jarvan because I think one of the worst feelings in League of Legends is really popping off in the early game and having a champion that doesn't scale quite as well into the late game. So even if you have that fantastic first half there on Summoner's Rift, the second half feels painful. I feel like Jarvan has a lot more utility in team fights. He has a lot more of a role to play in many late game scenarios. We've seen cataclysms in games just because you can catch multiple people in there. For his playmaking and for his transition into late game, I'm giving it over to the exemplar of Demacia. I remembered his name even.
I think it does maybe depend a little bit player to player too, but I like Ning's solution to Rek'Sai late game that you're talking about. He just goes and trades his life for the AD carry. There you go.
For them every time.
Problem solved.
Late game.
Next slide. What is better? Is it playing to the meta or playing to team strengths?
You know what, like mine's go. All right. I did an entire speech about this during last Worlds. Follow your heart. This doesn't work. If you're trying to do this, but you don't know how to draw arrows, you're not gonna win League of Legends. Do this. Play Skarner if you're good at Skarner.
Yeah, I feel like this is like an unfair question because you should always play to what your team is best at.
Yeah.
But if your team is equally best at everything, then of course the meta is the best way to go. That's the definition. So Okay, I guess I go with play to your team's strengths.
Big brain. Good job, Kobe. I'm glad we are in agreement on this one.
Don't play stuff that you're bad at.
Yeah, turns out that's a good way to win. Let's go.
More surprising, G2 2 over SKT in the group stages, or the Phong Buffalo 2-0 over G2. To me, Vietnam destroying major regions, taking games off them, even 2-0ing them in group stage is no longer as surprising. However, multiple G2 fans and analysts, Vedius as well, predicting that G2 will be better than SKT coming into the tournament. So not surprising there either. Maybe I'll give the slight edge over here.
See, in a previous year, I would say that it would definitely be this one because SKT was always on top. It was always, oh, the West just doesn't have a chance.
Yeah.
This year, G2 has looked like a monster. I've been impressed by them constantly. I am not surprised as much that they were able to do this, especially since the conversation was around those big three to begin with. This, however, considering the fact that Team Liquid, who struggled a lot throughout the course of the main group stage, was still able to always find their wins against Phong Buffalo. Phong Buffalo was 2-8. The 2 wins were both G2. That's surprising to me, and I'm definitely going with that.
I agree. Both on that. Next slide. What is it? Number 5? Strongest flex pick in the game.
There's so many. This or that or the other thing or this thing or not that thing, but this thing especially.
Honestly, there's been so much discussion on this. To me, I feel like Rise is still king. And maybe I'm a little bit biased after the Faker game that we just saw, SKT versus IG, where he absolutely destroyed them. But Rise has so many options, can become such an incredible split pusher later in the game, and Realm Warp as a tool for professional play. These barren objectives that become options when they shouldn't be options gives me, a little bit more faith in Rise.
I'm going to give my vote on this one over to Sylas. I think we've seen a lot of pop-offs from him, from a lot of different players so far in group stages for MSI. Plus, to me, he has higher highs than Rise does. Rise can make a cool play where you throw some minions into the fountain, or maybe you can sneak a Baron with Realm Warp, but stealing somebody's ult and masterfully using it against their own team is something that is just one of the coolest things to see in League of Legends. You can do it from either role equally well. I gotta give it to Sylas.
Fair enough. Next slide. More likely, G2 versus TL final? Not very likely.
Nope.
Or fans happy with the gap? Actually impossible. So
yeah, that one.
I would go with that.
A 99% unlikely is better than a 100% unlikely. That's just math.
Is it time to unleash the flame? Because Game of Thrones writers.
Maybe this slide is just trying to subvert our expectations.
For me, at least, with the new season of Game of Thrones, I already gave up on the Game of Thrones TV writers before, so my expectations weren't as high, I think, as some other people that are more angry, but I'm definitely still disappointed. I read the books as they were coming out super long time ago.
Okay, so you've got that
I gave up a long time ago that
context.
The TV writers were going to have any kind of new, interesting stories that they were going to tell for us.
Well, I'm not giving up on this dream. I'm saying we're going for G2 versus Team Liquid final.
There we go.
Believe.
Let's do it.
Keep the faith, ladies and gentlemen.
See you there.